Hey guys, here is the new awaited chapter, Introduction to Living World. Now let's start this chapter. First of all, before starting this chapter, I'll just ask you what is living and what is world? So what is living world? Now, in this class, I will read how living world forms, level of organizations and reaction and activities that make us living like metabolisms. I just asked you, what is living world? So living world comprises of all things that perform living features like growth, reproduction, stimulus, along with metabolic reactions. So this is living world. If someone will tell uh, that a person is infertile, then is it living? Yeah, it's living because it is showing metabolic reactions. So metabolic reactions define that whether the organism is living or non-living. So it's the metabolic reactions that will define whether organism is living or non-living. Now, living world. How living world forms? First of all, this living world formation took million of years. Maybe it is billion. So it took millions of years. The first living cell was formed when environment on earth goes familiar for the production of nucleic acid. Why nucleic acid? I'll just ask you in a simple way. What's the basic unit of cell? Then you will say it's DNA, RNA. So, and what is the full form of DNA? Deoxyribose nucleic acid. Here it is nucleic acid. So, nucleic acid is the ultimate and best source to make any organism living or non-living. So, here living world formation took a million of years, as you know, but when the environment goes familiar, then it will just produce nucleic acid, and this nucleic acid will just produce an organism into living one. This we will read this in detail in the evolution chapter, as you will study the various experiments in evolution chapter, like Urey and Miller experiment of evolutions. Now, to know all the living organisms well, we have to know the level of organizations first. As I already made a recap in the previous video of level of organizations. So now let's zoom into this image, level of organizations. Level of organizations. So here is first of all atoms, then molecules, then subcellular component, then living cells, tissues, organs, organ system, individual, populations, community, ecosystems, biospheres. And in the other section, that is non-living, that makes the thing non-living is atoms, then molecules, then molecule is divided into crystal, colloids, and mixtures. So this is the portion of non-living region, and this is the portion of living regions. Now, what is atoms? Atoms are the basic unit of substance. Now, molecules means a group of atoms. Associated atoms is known as molecule, and compound means a group of associated compound in a fixed a group of associated atoms in a fixed ratio is known as compound. Now, you will just come to subcellular component, which means organelles, cell organelles. Then it will take to living cells. Cell is the basic unit of life. Now tissues, a group of similar cells which perform the same action is known as tissue. Then organ, a group of various type of tissues that performs a set of function is known as organ. Like heart for generally pumping, kidney for purifications, and sometimes circulations too, lungs for purification of air, inspiration and expirations. So these are organs. What are organ system? A group of associated organs make an organ system. Like circulatory system consists of heart and renal reason, it means kidney. Digestive systems consist of pancreas, stomach, intestines, gallbladders. So this is digestive systems. Now organ systems, when several organ systems work in a coordinated way, this will make an individual. It means we human beings are individual. Now individual makes populations, and then population makes community. Community makes ecosystems, a group of biotic and abiotic component. So here this biotic component get associated with this biotic component, abiotic component. So association of all the biotic component with the abiotic component is known as ecosystem. Now ecosystem will make biosphere. Now I will take to you the next slide. Here the living form and features. What are the living features that modify and that differentiate the thing into living from non-living? Here you can see living organisms perform metabolic reactions. So metabolism. What is metabolisms? The sum of all reactions that is occurring inside the body is known as metabolisms. So this is generally the basic accepted definitions. But metabolism comprises of anabolism plus catabolism. Anabolism plus catabolism. Catabolism is destructive process and anabolism is constructive process. It is required for growth. Anabolism stores energy. In anabolism, complex material produced from the simpler one. But in catabolism, it releases energy. It is a destructive process. Here, complex substance split into simple absorbable form of substance. So catabolism is destructive process or energy giving process. Anabolism is energy formation process, not the energy giving process. So anabolism is constructive and catabolism is destructive process. Now living organisms reproduce. So this is the reproduction section. As living organisms reproduce but non-living cannot. So here young cell, then growth of cell, then cell division, then continues to cell divisions, then maturation regions, and finally a offspring. How a young cell formed? First of all, when male gamete fuses with the female gamete and get a proper environment, then a zygote is formed. Then zygote will further produced into blastomeres, and this blastomeres further form embryo, that is young shell. Young shells matures to become offspring. So a living organism can reproduce. Now living being responds to a stimuli. So here it is, as we can see here, the root is moving according to the gravity, in accordance of gravity. You can see root of this plant. So this is known as geotropism. It means movement of root under the gravity is known as geotropism. So this plant is geotropic. As we know that roots are positively geotropic and stem regions are negatively geotropic. So it is beyond the gravity and it is towards the gravity. Now what is phototropism? It means movement of body of organism towards the light is known as phototropism, and movement of body or body parts towards the gravity is known as zeotropism. So this is a stimulus that a non-living can't show. Now, living beings grow, as growth are primary and secondary in plants mainly. Yeah, you can say living being can grow. In plant, you can see that there is no lifespan for growth, as in humans and other organisms. There is a fixed age of growth, but in plants, plant always grows. So, now plant. When you just cut the plant part into transverse section, then you will see the middle range is darker, which is known as heartwood, and the outer range is lighter than the middle range, which is sapwood. Heartwood, heartwood generally are lignified and dead. It is highly resistant from insects because it is lignified. It is lignified and it is dead. So it didn't play this didn't play any role of conduction of food and water across the xylems and phloems, as the xylary and tracheids element lie in sapwood region, not the heartwood. So basically, for a timber purpose, for making furnitures, this region of wood will be more preferable, as these are resistant to insects. Now I'll ask you, what is sapwood? Sapwood consists of xylary elements, conductive elements, so it is basically living form, living part of plant. So thank you.